Because I honestly believe my answer might tend to
Will
incriminate.
you tell us anything about any of your operations, or you just giggle every time I ask you a question?
Declined to answer because I honestly believe my answer might tend to incriminate me.
I thought only little girls giggled with the Giancana.
Sam Giancana ascended to the pinnacle of the underworld in one of the most powerful mafia organizations in the United States. He was known for his alleged ties to influential politicians and government officials, including his reputed role in helping John F. Kennedy win the 1960 presidential election. And when Fidel Castro was seen as a threat to American interests during the Cold War era, Giancana was approached with a plot to assassinate him. But when the US government turned its back on Giancana, the consequences were disastrous. Welcome back to the Past Crimes channel. And this is the story of Sam Momo Giancana, the boss of the Chicago outfit. Though he celebrated his birthday on June 15th, records indicate that Sam Giancana was born on May 24, 1908. He was christened Momo Jimmy Salvatore Giancana. His parents were Antonio and Antonia Giancana from a neighborhood known as the Patch in Chicago's Little Italy. Their family was similar to other Italian families in the neighborhood, located between Taylor and Mather Streets, an area once dominated by Chinese immigrants and bordered by brothels along the riverfront district known as the Levee. Most residents hailed from southern Italy or Sicily, including Antonio and his wife, who came from the Sicilian village of Castelvetrano. Between 1890 and 1910, Chicago's Italian population grew to over 40,000, leading to tensions with the existing Irish and Jewish communities. Italians crossing into the Irish neighborhood on Halsted Street risked violence from Irish immigrants. This led to frequent street fights, with Italians viewing the Irish police as unsympathetic and the enemy. Reminiscent of the feudal system in Sicily where armed men enforced laws arbitrarily, Italian immigrants, fearing the police, relied on one another for support, clinging to their cultural heritage. While Sicily offered little opportunity for agrarian wealth, the industrial opportunities in Chicago were unappealing to Antonio and his peers. Even if welcomed, they were unlikely to be drawn to the dark and dirty confines of heavy industry. Antonio viewed his son, Mo, differently from his cherished daughter, Lena, considering Mo troublesome due to his independence, which he saw as rebellious. When Mo's mother passed away from a miscarriage in 1910, the boy, barely 2 years old, appeared to grasp the gravity of his loss, leading to a noticeable change in his demeanor. Antonio swiftly remarried Mary Lenardi, hoping for more children and additional care for his current ones. Mary, a serious woman, gave birth to 2 more children, Antoinette and Mary. Antonio's strict discipline, which included physical punishment, was meant to control Mo, but only fueled his rebellious nature. By the age of 10, Mo was labeled a delinquent, leading to a 6-month stay at St. Charles Reformatory. When he returned home in 1918, Mo found his family strained by the addition of 2 more siblings and difficult living conditions. He began sleeping in abandoned cars and roaming the streets, eventually finding a sense of belonging in a gang in 1920. This gang, known as the 42ers, was made up of daring Italian youth from Chicago's Patch neighborhood. Initially led by Joey Colaro, also known as Babe Ruth. They started with minor thefts like clothes and later progressed to stealing cars. Their criminal activities eventually escalated to bombings and murder, earning them a reputation as the most ruthless Italian gang in the area. The gang likely took its name from the tale of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, though it never had more than 20 members due to deaths or incarcerations. Despite their small numbers, they were feared and respected in the Patch. Residents admired their ability to outsmart the Irish police, whom they distrusted. Like the 42ers, immigrants harbored resentment towards outside authorities and saw the gang as a symbol of familiar law and order from the old country. The 42ers gained notoriety beyond the patch for their daring escapes and reckless driving. They often made headlines for their ability to take corners as fast as possible, a risky getaway method that involved driving on two wheels. This daring maneuver added to their reputation as daring and formidable. Mo, a homeless and starving boy, joined an unsavory group. He aimed to earn leadership and respect, practicing driving skills by whipping corners around barrels in alleys. Mo quickly became known as the 42ers' best wheelman. Avoiding capture was key, so they needed money to bribe the police if caught. The leader, Joey Colaro, collected $10 monthly from each member for such situations. Mo quickly realized that the police were not about justice, but about money. If there was a cop or judge who couldn't be bought, they hadn't found them yet. The going rate to have charges dropped was $500, more than they could afford. This meant turning to their parents who, despite their financial struggles, couldn't turn their backs on their sons, often paying off the police to get them out of trouble. They modeled themselves after more well-known mob figures, such as the Black Hand sugar mogul Diamond Joe Esposito, the youthful Al Capone and his companions, or Big Jim Colosimo, or his nephew Johnny Torrio. Mo got the moniker Mooney at the age of 13 in 1921, because he was regarded as the wildest and mooniest of them all. In early 1900s Chicago, various gangs including the Irish Market Street and Valley gangs emerged, with figures like Charles Dean O'Banion leading the Little Hellions and focusing on crimes like burglaries and pickpocketing. Meanwhile, Italian gangs led by Esposito and Colosimo used tactics such as extortion and payoffs to gain power. Esposito focused on building political and union ties, while Colosimo took a different route, establishing high-end brothels that made him wealthy and influential. In the early 1900s, gang expansion was also rampant in New York, mirroring the developments in Chicago. The Morello gang, with roots in the Black Hand, emerged as a prominent force. Other gangs like the James Street Gang and the 5 Points Gang, led by Johnny Torrio, a nephew of Colosimo, quickly formed. By 1909, Big Jim Colosimo faced challenges from the same rival gangs as Diamond Joe Esposito's, prompting him to seek assistance from Esposito. It was a request that required additional organizational muscle and inspired Esposito to bring in Colosimo's nephew from New York. Torrio, known for his leadership skills, efficiently managed Colosimo's businesses, including the brothels. In 1910, to strengthen his hold on the territories, Esposito brought in the 6 Jenner brothers, also known as the Terrible Jenners, with Joe Fusco assisting them. The Jenners quickly established themselves as enforcers, extortionists, and brothel operators under Esposito's patronage. Meanwhile, smaller neighborhood gangs like the 42ers provided a pool of recruits for leaders like Diamond Joe Esposito. Businessmen also saw the value in gang tactics, often employing gang members to protect their interests or influence potential customers. In 1919, Johnny Torrio recruited Al Capone from the 5 Points Gang in New York to help expand the Colosimo empire in Chicago. Torrio hoped they could persuade Big Jim Colosimo to shift focus from prostitution to bootlegging, following the success of 5 Points Gang members in the same business. Colosimo resisted change and rejected their proposal. Frustrated, Torrio ordered his uncle's execution, leading to Colosimo's assassination in May 1920. Chicago's gangs attempted to collaborate sporadically, but greed, betrayal, and ethnic tensions sparked an all-out territorial war. During this chaotic period, Esposito wielded uncontested power in the underworld. He controlled sugar distribution from Cuba, a vital ingredient for alcohol production during Prohibition. His alleged license from President Calvin Coolidge in 1923 granted him a neutral position, allowing him to rise above daily gang conflicts and influence criminal and legitimate politics nationwide. By 1923, when Mooney was 15 years old, he started working for Esposito running sugar and alcohol. Esposito employed the West Side Jenner brothers to oversee moonshining operations in the patch, managing hundreds of stills and producing over $1 million worth of alcohol annually. Italian immigrants in the patch were generously compensated for their involvement, ensuring their loyalty. Esposito's dominance extended even to Italian residents, exploiting young brides and demanding to bed them on their wedding nights before their husbands, despite many harboring thoughts of killing him. Nevertheless, Esposito's rule remained unchallenged for 20 years, characterized by his lascivious behavior and brutal control over Chicago's underworld. By the end of 1924, Diamond Joe Esposito was the most powerful man in Chicago and possibly all of North America, with significant influence over the city's underworld. He had close ties to figures like Al Capone, Johnny Torrio, and others, either through political connections or direct recruitment. Despite preferring neutrality, Esposito's Italian heritage bound him to support Torrio and Capone, leading to a formidable alliance against rivals, or at least that's what he thought. Tensions within the Torrio-Capone gang grew over wealth distribution, particularly between Capone and Torrio. With Ricker and Humphreys' support, Capone orchestrated Torrio's retirement in 1925, using young toughs like Mooney and Leonard Needles Giancana to convey the message. After Torrio's retirement, Capone's forces targeted the Jenner brothers, eliminating them as obstacles to Capone's power. Angelo Jenner was killed in a car ambush, leading his brother Mike to seek revenge. However, Mike was captured and fatally wounded in a gun battle with police. With Tony Jenner as the last obstacle, Capone's men, including Mooney and Giancana, tracked him down and killed him, solidifying Capone's dominance in Chicago's underworld. However, according to more contemporary accounts, in January 1925, Capone survived an ambush, and 12 days later, Torrio was ambushed outside his home, leaving him seriously injured. Torrio then retired, handing control of the gang to Capone and fleeing to New York. Another story based on contemporary accounts is the murders of Angelo and Tony Jenner, believed to have been orchestrated by the North Side Gang, the same men who ambushed Torrio. With Torrio and the Jenners out of the picture, Capone turned his attention to eliminating rivals and consolidating power. Mooney's standing among the 42ers rose due to his connections with big gang leaders. He enjoyed this newfound status, flaunting stylish suits and a revolver while accompanied by a woman. Mooney's life took a turn in July 1925 when he, along with Joey Cypher and Dominic Caruso, decided to burglarize a high-end dress shop on the North Side. Despite stealing over 50 dresses, their getaway was foiled by patrolling police officers, leading to a chase. Mooney, showcasing his driving skills, lost control of the car, resulting in the capture of Caruso and Cypher, who confessed under questioning. The following morning, Mooney was arrested and charged with burglary, his bond set at $500. His father secured the money from Diamond Joe Esposito to secure Mooney's release. Regrettably, despite his connections in the gangland and his associates in the 42ers, he couldn't escape trouble with the police in September 1925. At the age of 17, he was arrested and convicted for auto theft, receiving a 30-day sentence in the Joliet State Penitentiary. In mid-September 1926, Mooney, along with Diego Rico and Joe Pape, attempted a robbery in Levy District, resulting in the shopkeeper's death. They were charged with robbery and murder, with a bond set at $25,000. Antonio once again secured funds from Diamond Joe Esposito for Mooney's release. Despite being acquitted for the dress shop burglary, Mooney's days were overshadowed by the upcoming murder trial. As the trial approached, Mooney launched an intimidation campaign against a witness, Alex Berber, resorting to bribery and eventually instructing Rico to kill Berber. With no witnesses, the case was dropped. Afterward, Mooney focused on rising in the underworld, disregarding Joey Colaro's rules to impress the Capone gang. Mooney ensured his rise within the 42ers by tipping off the police about Colaro, who was later gunned down, solidifying the 42ers as a de facto extension of the Chicago outfit. The next time the Capone gang would call, Sam Giancana was given a message, committing his ultimate betrayal. The message was simple: tell Diamond Joe Esposito to get out of town or get killed. On March 21, 1928, Esposito was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting while walking home with two friends. On February 14, 1929, Mooney and his friend Needles were picked up by the police for questioning. Mooney, known as a driver for the Capone gang and closely associated with McGurn, was among the first taken downtown. However, he was soon released. Back home, Mooney was reading the paper with evident pleasure. The front page featured gruesome photos of what Chicago was calling the worst gangland slaying in history, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre put everything neatly in place for Capone and fixed his position as undisputed boss of Chicago. However, even though as high as he was, Sam Mooney Giancana was sentenced to 3 to 5 years at the Joliet State Pen for burglary. As Sam Giancana's power within the Chicago outfit grew, so did his entanglement with the U.S. government. But when the CIA approached him for a pivotal role in a clandestine mission to assassinate Fidel Castro, Sam found himself in a precarious position. The very government that had once turned to him for favors now turned against him. Join me in the next episode as we delve into the controversial alliance between Sam Giancana and the CIA.